Welcome to the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce News and Views show. I'm your host, Diane Sawyer, President and CEO of the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce. And today we have with us City Manager Summer Moore, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I certainly appreciate our monthly interactions.
I love it because we are able to update on all the things. And we have a lot of things as it is that time of year. So let's just jump right into it. You know, one thing that I want to talk about, we could go back and we could pull probably this month from a year ago where you went through a really great explanation of how the budget process works and the timeline of that. And I actually had comments on that video where people said, thank you so much for explaining it. So for full transparency, like 30-second rundown, how does the budget process work?
So we're about halfway through budget. So very long story short, 30 seconds or less, budget calendar is adopted by City Council at their February meeting. With that, we have our annual retreat, which we held the end of February, where we set budget priorities that Council outlined for us. And I think we'll talk more about some of those priorities in this session. Where we're at now in the process, all budgets by departments were due on April the 4th. So this week and next week, myself, our two assistant city managers, and each department head sit down and go through page by page, line by line, number by number, to see where we are, to make sure we're accounting for things properly and that we're being very good stewards of taxpayer dollars. So the last 2 weeks and into next week, we'll be reviewing departmental budgets. Then we will have our council second budget work session, April 22nd. It'll be at 5:30 p.m. at the Carriage House. The public is absolutely welcome to attend. That's where we start talking about revenues and expenditures. We've saw what revenues are looking like. We've saw what expenditures are looking like. And then council and the citizens get a first glimpse of the budget put completely together at our May 13th City Council meeting. Again, open to the public, 6:00 p.m., second Tuesday of each month. Council does not vote on the budget that night because that's the first time they're actually getting a book, if you will, full of the budget and what's proposed. Once they have time to look over it, we have a second budget work session that is scheduled on Monday, May the 19th at 5:30 p.m. at the Carriage House, again open to the public, to where council has now had about a 2-week window to review that budget, see what questions they have, anything they want to add, take away, have more discussion on. That all sets us up for our June public hearing because by law, you have to have a public hearing and give the community an opportunity to speak on the budget, whether they're in favor of the budget, whether they're against the budget, whether there's things in the budget they like, things they don't like. They have that opportunity during a public hearing at our June City Council meeting. At our June City Council meeting, it is then completely up to City Council if they want to move to adopt the budget. If they are successful in adopting the budget, that budget then becomes effective July 1st, 2025. In municipalities, we run on what people call fiscal year. So we have to, by state statute, have a budget adopted and in place no later than July 1st. So that kicks off our annual fiscal year July 1st, 2025, and it goes through June 30th of 2026. So we've been very, very busy. So I apologize. I had to miss a ribbon cutting yesterday. I heard it went very well, but we have just been really inundated with budget requests because we do feel like we all are expected to be good stewards and be able to show why those tax dollars are needed where they are in each department.
That was a wonderful, maybe more than 30 seconds, but really close. No, it needed more than 30. That was just a shot. But I think for me, the only thing that I had a question about is it also goes on display, right in the library maybe?
Yes, ma'am. You just nailed it. So you can also, when budget is proposed to council, it also becomes live and it's on display in our library. One thing we are working on to try and do either this year or next year is I really want to get the budget available online. I know our IT department's doing a great job trying to rework our website some, but I just think is more transparent and more accessibility we can have, because that budget is the residents' budget, and they need to have access to that and see that. So yes, it is available for review at the library. We also have copies at City Hall you can come by and look at. It is a rather thick document, so we only have the one copy for you to sit and look at, or if you want to pay a fee, you can have the entire budget. But again, hoping to move to an online format to where at any time, if you're sitting at home and you're like, I wonder where that is, you would have that access to do that.
That would be amazing, I think, to be able to promote that. So I just think it's important. So thank you for sharing that. I just don't think that folks realize, and again, I feel like it's our job to educate. I mean, there are opportunities. There are opportunities to hear, to see, to have input. And so, like, the biggest thing I like to say to people is, I mean, it's out there. So if, you know, you want to be a part of it. So speaking of that, you guys have really been talking about what's to come. You have your normal stuff. And I know that we have what we call, you know, the wear and tear and the overtime replacing of police vehicles or fire trucks or whatever, garbage trucks. But you also have upgrades and improvements, and you also have things that are coming. I know we've talked about how we've spent the Recovery Act funds on different things. So tell us about what the new things are. What's going on? I know we've talked about the lake and we've talked about other upgrades. So where are we with some of that?
So we're excited about that, finishing up some upgrades. So the lake is a great example. We're hoping to be finished end of April, 1st of May, but I would encourage any of our viewers to go ride out to Lake Reidsville and see the difference. All the campsites have or will be completely, they were gravelled. Now they will be on a concrete slab. So you will have that amenity. And then also it was a gravel path. Now it will be a complete asphalted path. So we're really excited about that. We've got a lot of fun things planned. This is kind of just a phase one approach, just to bring some modernization to the campground. But I knew doing some preliminary discussions with council, and you've probably saw some during our city council meetings, is there are some more plans for that. Maybe looking at a phase two to where there's some type of tiny home rental or cabin rentals available there at Lake Reidsville, because you know, accommodations are huge here, and the need for accommodations. Myself, you know, so many people may not own a camper, or you may not particularly like to tent camp, but if you had the option to rent a small tiny home or more of a glamping experience, you may want to do that at Lake Reidsville. So we're really excited to explore those possibilities and see where that can go, because Reidsville is huge, not only in manufacturing and industry, but tourism. We have so much availability as far as parks, rec, and just outdoor opportunities that I think makes us a really unique destination for visitors, for residents. I mean, you can literally be 5 minutes from Lake Reidsville and have an amazing day there. And we're really excited to see how many phases of this project we can start and get done for people to enjoy.
I actually got to see all of that firsthand. We went out there with the Reidsville Day for Leadership Rockingham. The city was so gracious to host us at so many points throughout the day. And I was actually blown away at the difference that it makes. I mean, I knew it was going to be great, but seeing those things be either asphalt or concrete pad, like, it was amazing. And we stopped and we looked at the new pillow pad and looked at the zip line. And I mean, that's just, there's so many amenities out there, and it's such a hidden gem. And
Truly is.
you know, I just think that we have a lot of opportunity there to grow.
We do. And I know one of the biggest things that we get asked about, and I want to talk to our viewers about, is swimming at Lake Reidsville. I know that's something that we've desperately tried to look at and explore. Unfortunately, right now, the way our water system is set up, that is a primary drinking water source. So there is no swimming allowed at Lake Reidsville. Lake Hunt would possibly be another option. However, that is designated as the city's backup water source. But we are trying to work with some of our other teammates in our other facilities to see, you know, are there any other options? Because I know with our viewers and our listeners, myself included, you know, it's hard to go out on the lake and see people. You can boat on the lake, you can jet ski, but I
You could-
can't swim on the lake because of a public water. So I question that, but it is a state statute. So I do think maybe just to continue to look at that and see, maybe have some discussions at the local and state level, because that would be so unique to be able to have swimming and more water sports at Lake Reidsville if that was a desire.
Yeah, I understand that it's a DEQ thing and that it is very complicated. So, I learned a little bit more about it. I knew those were the reasons, but they did. We were so fortunate to have a City of Reidsville superintendent with the water in our Leadership Rockingham class. And so between he and our Parks and Rec director, Quentin, they were able to shed a lot of light for that, because that was a question and it comes up every time we go out on the boat to look at water supply and access. You can canoe, you can paddle, you can do all the things but swim. And so, and we also had our lake police officer with us. So, we were talking about all of those things. And I mean, maybe there is something that, from a chamber perspective, maybe that's something that we can go to our folks, our representation at the state level, and say, help us. Like, what do we, what do we need to do? Because I have said since I came, I felt like the lake was underutilized. And so I'm ready to see it flourish and be a big deal.
Thank you for that.
And speaking of the lake and speaking of Leadership Rockingham, we also saw the splash pad. And I know that that's kind of a hot topic of discussion right now. And, as we took those leaders out there, they were incredibly amazed that we had been able to offer it for free. But they also understand where some of the issues come in with maintenance and replacing things. So I know you wanted to talk a little bit about that. Tell us kind of what's going on.
So thank you for that. So, this was our first successful year of having our splash pad open. So it's getting ready to open again soon. It always opens Memorial Day weekend and runs through Labor Day. So, the first year with anything and any project, especially a project of that magnitude, you have a 1-year warranty period, meaning anything that happens, equipment related, it is 100% covered. So we use this as an opportunity, because we had never had a splash pad before, to see exactly what expenses does it take to run a splash pad. So we were able to offer the first year free because we had that umbrella of a 1-year warranty period. If something malfunctioned or went down, there was a couple of times when it did, unfortunately, and was down for a couple of days, but that was all covered under the 1-year warranty period. That 1-year warranty period has now expired. So we have to make sure we're being good stewards of the city-owned facility of the splash pad. And what council is looking at is they're looking at charging $2 per person, but they're also looking at having a free day. So once a week, there would be a free day. So there's discussion on what day that would be. But we're also possibly looking at, maybe if council would be interested, maybe holidays are free. So July 4th would be free. Also Memorial Day would be free. So that's something else.
And then Labor Day probably.
And Labor Day, that'd be your last day. So there's 3 free days, plus you would get 1 free day a week. We don't know the date just yet, but we're also looking at passes to where residents of the City of Reidsville could purchase a pass to go to the splash pad the entire season for a discounted rate, to where if it was something you and your family or your household enjoyed, you could purchase a pass versus $2 every time you go. But we figured that would be a way to ensure that we're providing safe, proper, up-to-date equipment, preparing for any malfunctions that may happen without having to deplete resources and funding from other items in our budget. Is that small fee to offset that. I do know that in looking at other municipalities, the city of Eden is the only other one, I believe, in Rockingham County that has a splash pad. They're $2. Other places, they're $3 and $4. I don't believe we're there yet. I think we need to try and be as financially conservative as possible, because things are really expensive right now. So I think the city's going to try and take a hybrid model, and we're going to offer at least 1 free day a week plus free holidays. That'd be 3 free holidays and a discounted pass So just hoping to get there. I certainly hope people understand we were just really lucky the first year to have that 1-year warranty period and be able to see the expenses involved with the splash pad.
Absolutely. And I think it's important. So, I know that there are other budget related things before we move on, because I know there's some other things I wanted to talk about. What other budget related maybe things are being proposed?
So one other thing, several things, but one of the other big ones we're looking at is I've had a lot of residents just in my short time here reach out to me about gravel roads, that the city of Reidsville still has numerous gravel roads. A lot of that is because of maybe traffic count, but nonetheless, you're still a taxpayer and you're paying taxes for a gravel road. So one of the things we're looking at is the city currently has a pavement condition study. The last time one was completed was in 2019. Unfortunately, as we know, 2019, 2020, things kind of went crazy, not trying to go there, but I think that's part of why we need to get back on this and look at doing a revised pavement condition assessment for all city streets. So we have proposed that in the budget. It would be a third-party vendor. I think that's key for a third-party vendor because it takes personal bias out of streets, meaning you don't have individuals who maybe, it is basically looking at the need of a street versus someone saying, well, they decide to pave Diane Street because Diane lives on that street. Or Diane called 100 times, so they wanted to pave Diane Street. It actually looks at a third-party perspective and identifies what streets need to be paved each year in order to provide safety. So I think that is key to have that third party evaluate that because it just takes out personal bias. Because regardless, you're human, there is personal bias no matter what you try and do.
Yeah. I think that's awesome too. That's a huge part of getting back on track, as you and I have discussed on the show many times now. You have unearthed a lot of things that, well, we used to do this, but all of this paused, and so we're having to bring back. And I mean, it's everybody. The chamber's in the same boat. Like we have those issues. For us, it was events or it was other programs that we offered. So yeah, but the other thing that I think you guys have put money towards some other things. Like we've been talking about this UDO. We've been talking about Revitalize Reidsville. We've been talking about how the chamber can help. Because again, public forum, there have been two times that information was out there, but nobody really showed up and nobody gave input. So the chamber's looking to help by putting out a bigger splash, if you will, a bigger reach, a bigger, this is out there, folks, come put your input. Tell us why. Tell us what's going on. Tell us why that matters to people.
So I think that's a good point to kind of maybe talk about our business community and our downtown community and why those examples you gave matter. So first and foremost, the UDO, the Unified Development Ordinance. I know we've been hearing about it for, it seems like a decade now, but those things take time. We are working to try and get that completed. One of the things you and your team have been a huge partner on is probably back in December, we kind of paused and said, hey, we need some more community involvement and buy-in. And that's why we approached you about this most recent year. And maybe it's a partnership with the chamber because so many times I know that some of our teammates have done a great job hosting events at City Hall, but you have a very low turnout. And trying to get a partner like the chamber and some of the reaches that you have with our business community and our residents, I think will serve us well. So, you know, one thing, we've come up with some pretty catchy names we're working on, but to have maybe August, September open forum to discuss what is the UDO, kind of like the nuts and bolts of this jargon we keep using of UDO, Unified Development Ordinance. We want to be able to present that and show you what it is, where it's been, where it's going, and what do you want to see from it? Because there's so many things in there that's driven by business and business needs. Is it smaller setback requirements? Is it residential living upstairs? Is it Airbnbs? Those things like that that have just went, you know, I think Jason Harden, our community development director and planner, made a great point. I think he said in the last 2 or 3 years, he's done over 100 text amendments because trying to bring us into modernization of what the building community and business community are needing as far as residential and commercial growth. So I think that'll be huge as we move forward this summer. Also, kind of a priority set by council is this Revitalize Reidsville Committee. Really focusing on our downtown area. Lenise Lane, who's with Small Town Soul. Many of our business members downtown have probably interviewed with her or gave her some feedback on some things, maybe some positive and negative on some of the things they'd like to see that are going well in Reidsville, and maybe some things that aren't going so well. So we formed the Revitalize Reidsville Committee to go and start engaging with these property owners, particularly in downtown, and say, hey, what is it we can do to help you? Do you have an interest in selling your building? What's your plans with your building? Because I don't know that people realize probably at least 2 or 3 times a day, myself, Montana Brown, Chase Lemons, Robin Yount, we get phone calls from potential businesses, individuals who are interested in opening a business downtown. I know you get calls. And we have no inventory. As strange as that sounds, we have no inventory for those potential business owners to rent, lease, or purchase. And I think we need to have a really serious discussion with individuals who are owning buildings to see what their intent is with that building. I know one of the things I've heard in Lenise's report and talking to people was some people didn't feel like they could come to city council meetings, that it was only if you lived in the city. City council meetings are a public meeting. They are open to any citizen that wants to attend, any person that wants to attend. It's the second Tuesday of each month at 6 p.m. You do not have to prove your identity that you live in Reidsville to attend. You are welcome to attend. So I think it's just going to take, communication, better communication on the city's end to get some of these things out there and show that we're ready to listen. We heard you. We understand you want to see change, and we're here to prepare for that change, but we need your help to make things better.
Yeah, and I think that's a really interesting point, right? It's not unique, but in Reidsville, you have a lot of business owners and a lot of property owners who do not physically live in the city of Reidsville because they're an outlying, they may have a Reidsville address, but they don't quite live in the limits. And so they don't pay taxes on their residential stuff, and they can't vote because they don't live. And so they feel like they don't have a voice, which is one of the big things from a chamber's perspective is, again, you guys are open to hearing it. You're saying, come talk to us. And that's the way they have a voice. And so I just really encourage people to come talk to us, come talk to you. You've added staff that can help businesses and walk them through things, and hold their hands through things. We're trying, right? We're all trying here. And so I just think we just keep hitting that point home, is that we're here to do business. We're here to make business successful. Revitalize Reidsville, adopt a unified, just all the things for the UDO. I don't know. I think that we are doing the best we absolutely can with that. So I'm excited to keep brainstorming, keep putting it out there, and keep working with you guys on that.
We appreciate your partnership. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and we see it. We see, I'll be careful about how I say this, but I made the comment in the Leadership Rockingham, I get tickled. I've had some feedback on, hey, we could do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, but we just did X, Y, and Z, and we see it working. One of the things was something related to facades and grants and revitalization. And it led me specifically to, and we took the trees out, and then suddenly you start seeing the buildings. It absolutely did inspire people to start making improvements. And so it worked. Or one was about slowing down traffic. I'm like, streetscape, and then the signs for the pedestrians, like it's worked. Like it's the things that we said we were looking for. So maybe just continuing to better tell those stories and hit those points home for people to understand that it is happening.
I think that's great. Thank you for that.
Yeah, so we don't have much time left as usual. We have run ourselves up. So are there any points, any programs, any things that you want to throw out there for this month that we haven't talked
I
about?
just want to thank you and the other chambers to talk about maybe a little about Leadership Rockingham. I think you guys had a Reidsville Day earlier this week, and we really appreciate that because I think the more you do to promote that program, because some of the connections you can make, and as I said to the group in the leadership program, is reach out to your chambers, reach out to your business community. If you're uncomfortable coming to a local government or the city, reach out, take advantage of your local chambers, because a lot of times they can be the bridge or connect you to the right people. And then same thing at the city. If you've got a question, you and I talk often, that might be something I direct someone to you. So just taking advantage of that. But I do think that's a great program. If you, in our closing, just maybe want to talk about it for a few minutes, because I really see it a success story here in Reidsville and other communities.
Yep. So applications will be coming out soon for next year. It's a program that we run right now. It's set for September through May on the second Wednesdays of the month. And it is a program that is done by the 3 chambers of commerce in our county. So Western, Eden, and Reidsville. And we just bring together a group of leaders, and we do a little bit of leadership, and then we do a little bit of what we call our tour days. And so many years ago, it used to be based on the day was around either healthcare or education or law enforcement or government, and the different areas we try to hit industry. But we realized we were losing a lot of time because we have a very geographically large county. And it was funny because at the time it was the director of ADTS who said, guys, I'm an alumni and I'm here to help, and you're spinning your wheels traveling between the areas. Why don't you break it down? He's like, not trying to segregate into the cities and the towns. He was like, but you're going to accomplish so much more if you're in a close proximity. So we went from doing it that way to doing it Eden, Reidsville, Western, Wentworth, and Rockingham County Day. And so it's really great because we visit our nonprofits, we visit industries. You guys were so gracious to host us. We were able to tour the historic penthouse, but to see the new facility with the carriage house, we were able to go out on the pontoon boat on the lake and see the water supply, see the splash pad and the all-inclusive park, and all things that you and I have talked about on the show. But, again, trying to reach as many people and educate as many people as possible. So it's a really wonderful program. You meet a lot of great people. And everybody says, even your employees that have been through it said yesterday, or Wednesday, they said, we still reach out to our classmates. And so we're actually discussing an alumni event because I think it will be really phenomenal to be able to bring people back together. So, but yeah, that's it. And the applications will be coming out, and we'll make a decision over the summer and invite folks, and we'll start back up in the fall. So
thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
Thank you for saying that. And happy to partner with the other chambers and, make it a bigger countywide thing. So yeah, I say last but not least, maybe we can announce it on here because I'm getting ready to launch, but we've been talking about our first annual Women's Expo. So She Means Business, Reidsville's Business and Industry Expo, and which you were going to be a part of. And we are very excited to have Lee Cochran lead our business and industry panel at lunch, and to have our DA, our Katie Gregg, who's going to be doing breakfast that morning and talking a little bit about that. So I think it's just going to be a fun day of empowerment and education and networking and connecting. And so I'm really excited about it, and we're going to be launching that soon. So
we're really excited to participate. So thank you so much I don't think people realize all the different hats that you wear and your team wears, and some of the incredible events that you guys are able to pull off just speaks volumes for your dedication to the Chamber of Commerce. So thank you for bringing yet another cool event for us and something unique. She Means Business Expo. So very excited for that. Thank you for that.
Well, thank you for being the facility sponsor and for allowing us to have it at the gorgeous penthouse. I kind of think a little bit of a tribute to Miss Judy and what she really wanted for conferences and events and things to happen there. And I'm kind of honored to be the first one to pull it off and know that it's about empowering women in roles especially and specifically part of it that are non-traditional female roles. And so being able to be in the house and being able to be in the greenhouse and the carriage, and Emmy saw my vision immediately. And so I'm really excited about how that's going to work out. So thankful to Pelham Transportation and the RCC Small Business Center for being our name and sponsors. And last but not least, folks, if you're seeing this and you get by the end of April, we need to guarantee your T-shirt, but we're doing our Reidsville night at the Grasshoppers.
Yes, please come out.
Yeah, and Team Reidsville is helping us with that, and so we're really excited to do that. So we're kicking off the season. You and I didn't even get to, just real quick, concert series, festival, like in a minute or less.
So we have all of our concerts getting ready to kick off. RDC City doing a great job there. Fab Festival, stay tuned. We're very excited to kind of do almost a rebrand and a relook at Fab Festival. So stay tuned. We've got some really fun things to unveil, and hopefully maybe we meet next month. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the teasers we've got planned for these events.
Absolutely. May will be our dive into the summer event stuff.
And farmers market. So one final thing, please mark your calendars. I believe it's the first Thursday in May or May 8th.
May 8th. It's actually May 8th.
May 8th, come down. We are going to have our first Thursday night farmers market, and Diane and the chamber are going to do a ribbon cutting for some quilt squares. So we're really excited. Thank you for your vision and some other members in our community's vision to try an evening farmers market.
I think it's going to be awesome. I'm excited. So yes, we will talk about that in May. So
perfect.
Well, thank you for being on today. As always, we appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you more than you know.
All right, folks, that is it for today's show. As always, you can find us in the heart of downtown Reidsville at 140 South Scale Street, on our website at reidsvillechamber.org, and all of our social media channels. So stay tuned, and we'll see you soon.